This issue in today's look at Proposition 8 hits close to home for many people on both sides. Right now, I'm joined by Harry Underwood. He's with the Middle Georgia State College Gay Straight Alliance. Harry, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Well, why don't you start by telling us about what your group is all about?
Well, the Middle Georgia State College Gay Straight Alliance is an organization that was set up back in 2009 in order to advocate for and provide a welcoming environment on campus at the Macon and Warner Robins campuses for people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, or transgender, who may not fit the norms of sexual orientation that are assumed by many other people. And we advocate for diversity on campus. We welcome as many people as possible who may identify as anything regarding sexual orientation or gender identity. We want them to feel that they are not only welcomed, but loved as students and as participants in the student body at Middle Georgia State College.
Well, Harry, obviously we don't have to ask you where you stand on this issue, but you've heard both sides of the argument, the opposers and the people in support of it. Do you feel like this issue has gotten a lot of hateful dialogue between the two sides?
I would say that of course I do have my biases, but when I look at the dialogue that has been traded, not of course also by advocates of LGBT rights or civil rights for LGBT couples, but it's also where we're talking about LGBT people being victimized in this country, at least over the last several years, especially the last 40 or plus years since the Stonewall riots in 1969 in New York City. But we are trying to build a more solidarized environment. In other words, we emphasize the gay as well as the straight. We welcome the people who identify on sexual orientation or gender identity grounds. And we also welcome heterosexual people who do feel that things can be better. Things can be made better on campus, off campus as well. Speaking,
not from your group, but from just watching this whole thing play out in the Supreme Court, do you feel like proponents of, Prop 8 and opposers have kind of crossed the line and gone a little too far with their protests and their outcries? Speak to that.
Well, you're seeing not just here, protest here in this country, in places like Washington, D.C. today, but also seeing protests just recently in London as well as in Paris against marriage equality for same-gender couples, with the allegation that we're not homophobic. We are just, we feel that it is the right of the child to have a mother and a father, but at the same time, they have not been able to prove that right when they're talking about two people who are able to raise children and not have an impact upon the sexual orientation or the gender identity of their children.
Harry, I don't mean to cut you off, but we are out of time. But thank you so much for weighing in on this issue. And as always, we want to hear what you think about this issue. The Supreme Court is expected to make a decision in this case in June, and we wrote on our Facebook wall, is Prop 8 unconstitutional? We're taking your thoughts on it. Check out facebook.com/Ashley Minnelli News.